So the way you talk about your parents now before we started recording was fond, both of your parents. You clearly think highly and have good relationships with each of them.
I don't know who I'd be today without either of those two.
How did they pull that off? Because how did they pull off helping you have such positive connections with each of them when they were not having a positive connection with each other?
So they were, I will say, it was definitely a lot harder on my sister than it was for me. And the reason for that is because me personally, they kind of kept me in the dark about what divorce really is for quite a while. And they both, at least to me, I can't really remember a single time until maybe like, I don't know, maybe like third, fourth grade, somewhere when I could start having actual memories, right? Of them ever saying like a bad thing about the other, like in front of me, like not that at least I can remember. So that I didn't really think that like they like they're not like on good terms with each other. I was just kind of, you know how it is with like 5 year olds. All they know is I don't want to go to bed and can we have ice cream after dinner? That kind of
Yeah.
thing. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
So it sounds like they protected you in some ways. Your sister's older, yes?
Yeah, my sister. Oh, my sister definitely protected me because she was by that point around 9 years old, so she could start to have like memories and a little bit more of a grasp of like what's going on, and like she knew I think pretty early on that this is not normal, and she didn't really know how to actually like manage relationships as individuals, whereas like because I was 5 years old, the only thing as parents and as responsible human adult people, they could be more on the same page necessarily about what I need and versus what she needed, except, and we can maybe even get into this a little bit later, except when it came to my ADHD.
Yeah, what do you mean by that? Tell me more about that.
So this actually kind of happened a little bit more even before like the divorce started happening, right? But my mom was kind of too. Not that my dad was like completely clueless or anything like that, but my mom was the one who was like, he's not fine. He's not speaking in class. Like we need to get him looked at for something. And my dad was just kind of like, I think it's just like just how it's like this kid particularly maybe is or whatever. But she was like, no, we're going to get him looked at. And she tested me for a lot of different things. She could probably tell you more about that than I could, right? But the point is that it was mostly her. After like it came to light that I had ADHD, to an extent, they were kind of on the same page and could be civil enough about what I kind of needed. You know what I mean?
Did you ever get to a point where you could tell that they had different opinions or different approaches for how to meet your needs?
Yeah, well, there's the yes, like in the psychological sense, but there's also the technical answer, which is a little bit earlier on. I'll address the technical one first. I can kind of remember a little bit. So, for a little bit of backstory, I was placed on ADHD medication, and I actually still have this perspective today, right? But I didn't like taking any of the medicine because it would make me either like pissed off for no reason or it would make me hungry or tired or whatever it was. It wasn't clicking with me, and I got to the point even like when there were only two types that they had tried where I was just kind of like, guys, I don't need to take pills or whatever. And kind of early on, around like in second grade, I kind of developed some like sneaky ways, like at my dad's, to like avoid having to take it or whatever. I would like hide it in my room and stuff like that. Whereas like at my mom's, like it was like dead set until eventually they all relented and I got off of it way later on. Tell you more about that. It was like my mom was like, in a good way, of course, very strict about needing to take my medicine before school and eating and stuff like that. So I guess you could say that kind of difference was like I figured out I could almost get away with like not taking my medicine at my dad's. Sorry,
Definitely.
dad, but
When I talk with kids, that's what they figure out
Kids are
how each
smart. Kids are
how
smart.
each parent runs their household and like what flies and what doesn't under different
oh, and it
households.
wasn't even his fault. Actually, I will say it wasn't to say he wasn't enforcing it or anything. He he low key was in the dark a little bit for a while until he I got we may be smart, but we eventually get caught, right?